The Nintendo Switch 2 was finally revealed a few days ago via a surprise trailer release from Nintendo. While the trailer shows off a few new things about the system, including a new size, slightly refined design, backwards compatibility, and even a new Mario Kart, we are still left with far more questions than answers when it comes to this new system. As beloved as the original Nintendo Switch system is, there are a bunch of little things about it that are in desperate need of improvement with its successor. Here are just 10 features that Nintendo Switch 2 must have at launch in order to ensure success. First and foremost, a mechanical issue that matters more than anything else to me, and I'm sure many others, is having far more durable Joy-Cons. Seeing as Nintendo is set on sticking with the original design concept of the Joy-Cons, that means all the good things about them may be accompanied by all of the bad. The biggest issue the original Switch had was Joy-Con drift. No controller I have ever used had drift as bad or as frequent as the Joy-Con, so making sure that these new, sleeker Joy-Con are far sturdier and last longer before any kind of drift sets in is an absolute vital feature. While the original Switch definitely had a lot of character, with there really being nothing like it on the market when it released, outside of some fun Joy-Con colors and occasional special edition systems, there really wasn't any way of adding any personality to the system. And a feature that was requested endlessly that I think needs to be added to the Switch 2 is custom menu themes. One of the best features that the Nintendo 3DS had was its custom main menu themes. This always felt like a no-brainer to add onto the Switch, but despite that, the Switch to this day has only ever had two options for a menu theme, black or white. It's made stranger by the fact that this feature has its own option in the settings, when there's only two possible, equally boring backgrounds to choose from. If the Switch 2 adds custom backgrounds again, I know there will be millions of very happy fans, myself included. While not exactly a feature of the system itself, Nintendo needs to either have a completely new eShop for the Switch 2, or at least seriously fix the current one. As it stands, the Nintendo eShop is one of the worst online shop interfaces there is. Not only is it painfully slow to navigate, it's even harder to use, being extremely unuser-friendly, and being filled with thousands of genuinely horrible games. It is impossible to even enter the eShop nowadays without being shown dozens of AI anime puzzle games. In my opinion, this shop needs to be abandoned completely, and a new one made for the Switch 2. Nintendo is a very professional company, and that needs to be reflected in a new shop. One of the most clunky systems the original Nintendo Switch has is its party chat feature, or rather, the lack thereof. There is no way to play a game online with your friends on Switch while talking to them, unless you go out of your way to download and use the Nintendo Switch app. It's a band-aid solution to a problem that shouldn't have existed even in 2017 when the console first released. If I have to go out of my way to use a phone to talk to my friends, I'm just gonna use Discord. If Nintendo wants to continue to use Party Chat, they need to have it integrated into the console. The system has a mic built in, so there really is no excuse for not including a new and improved Party Chat in the Switch 2. With the Switch 2 having backwards compatibility confirmed, the one thing that these games need to have is improved quality and frame rate. Some of the absolute best Switch games there are suffer and are completely held back by being on the Switch. I can't even tell you how many times while playing Tears of the Kingdom I would stop while taking in a view and think to myself, this would look so much better on a stronger console. Seeing as the Switch 2 will most certainly be a lot stronger than the original, it only makes sense for Nintendo to try and upscale and improve some of their more popular games when played on the Switch 2. If you find that you're enjoying the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton. I'm trying to hit 30,000 subs by the end of the year, and with your help, I know we can do it. Come on, join Sir Surgeonor's army. Going back to audio issues with the original Switch, for some reason, with all the fancy IR cameras and NFC capabilities, no version of the Nintendo Switch has any built-in Bluetooth capabilities. Again, for a system releasing in 2017, that's a pretty crazy exclusion. Most, if not everyone these days, uses wireless headphones, so for the Switch to have to use wired is a little silly. Once again, Nintendo created a sort of half solution by releasing a Bluetooth adapter for anyone who wanted the feature. But this was just a half fix to an issue that really shouldn't have existed to begin with. The Switch 2 launching with built-in Bluetooth is a must, and if it doesn't, believe me, you will hear a lot more people complaining than even with the original Switch. This is a super specific request, and one that maybe not everyone will agree with, but I remember hearing a lot about early in the original Switch's life, and that is a lack of streaming apps. I remember everyone practically begging Nintendo to add a Netflix app to the Switch. I understand that most people on the go will just watch Netflix on their phone, but not including it just seems odd. Considering the 3DS had Netflix, a feature I personally used a bunch as a kid, it makes very little sense that the Switch never got it. Considering how many more streaming apps there are today, even when compared to 2017 when the Switch launched, it would seem like seriously wasted potential to have the Switch 2 not include, at minimum, some of the larger streaming services. If there's one thing Nintendo isn't super well known for, it's their multiplayer experiences. Outside of Splatoon, Mario Kart, and Smash Bros., there aren't really many people playing online games on the Switch, and a lot of that is due to the fact that Nintendo's online services have never been particularly good. The Switch 2 needs to have a wildly improved online system, as playing online on the Switch is genuinely just not fun. Lag is a never-ending issue when I do choose to play online, and typically leads to me not playing anything for more than an hour at the most. There's no doubt that the Switch 2 is going to be way stronger than the original Switch, meaning it can handle more system memory being dedicated to the online services just running better. And with Mario Kart 9 seemingly looking like it'll have 24-person multiplayer, they definitely need to find a way to improve it. The Switch OLED was the baby step between the Switch and the Switch 2, being bigger, having better battery, and being ever so slightly faster. Most of these improvements are being carried over to the Switch 2, but what's not been confirmed yet is the actual OLED screen. The Switch 2 being about 20% larger than the original Switch would suffer greatly from not having a sharp and clear screen. After having used my Steam Deck for a while, picking up my Switch, the first thing I always notice is how dark the screen is and how weak the colors are. The Switch 2 needs to launch with the best screen it can if it's going to want to compete with the competitors it now has on the market, as well as avoid being negatively compared to its own predecessor. Lastly, and arguably most importantly, is launching with bare minimum 3 great games. The one and only Switch 2 trailer we have seen has shown us the first look at the unnamed next Mario Kart, which will very likely launch with the system. That alone will guaranteed bring in tens of millions of sales, but if you want to keep a lot of die-hard Nintendo fans happy, launching with another heavy hitter will be necessary. My guess as of right now is that Nintendo will do that, and the game will very likely be Metroid Prime 4. It only makes sense given how hyped up that game is. I feel it will likely be given the Breath of the Wild treatment, being used as a last hurrah for Nintendo's previous console and serving as a spectacle for their next. So that was just 10 things that I personally feel the Nintendo Switch 2 needs to have the most successful launch possible sometime this year. We'll see what, if any of this, Nintendo confirms with their Direct on April 2nd later on in the year. Personally, I'm very excited to see what they have to show. The Nintendo Switch has been a great system, but it's time for it to finally be put to rest. Make sure to leave a comment with what you think the Switch 2 needs to be successful. Until next time, I'm Sir Surgeonor, and I really hope you enjoyed. Peace!